everybody, and welcome. Today we're looking at Juno New Origins, or as it was previously known, Simple Rockets 2. And this game has been in the wild for a little while now, and I've also did a video in the past, but there are some new things, so I just thought we should take a look at it again. And it's done by these 7 people who have formed up under the game developer name of Juno. Anyway, so it's a small team, very small team, but the game is, you could classify it as like Kerbal Space Program without Kerbals and a lot more tweakables. I mean, I could set the planet's quality to Mega Ultra Pro, as you can see here, but then I would have to wait hours for it to load, at least according to this screen, so yeah, I chickened out. Speaking of planets, you can modify them right from within the game. For instance, here I'm adding some rings to what appears to be a scorching hot Mercury equivalent or something like that. And you can also change the textures that are used for these rings and whatnot. As I said, if you are a tinkerer and tweaker and like to change a lot of settings to just for your liking, then this game is going to be just for you. And also if you like career mode, where you are guided pretty much step by step through the first few phases of your career, then this game is also for you. Here we can see the tech tree where we can select what we want to research. And this is going to give us a lot more options going forward. And this weird-looking bald gentleman with a, I don't know, bow tie. I don't know fancy clothing. I knew that in the past, but I've given up on all of that because I think it's preposterous. Anyway, so that guy is offering you assistance and money and technology, and therefore you have to do some contracts to win his trust to get more tech points. And yeah, you do the contracts for this cowboy-looking fella, for instance, to get more money. You need money to launch, for instance. Sound familiar? Yeah, if you played Kerbal Space Program, the first one, with the contracts enabled, then you will have seen this, or some of this, similar to this, quite a lot when you played career mode. We're going to really start from the basics here, since the last time I played this, career mode or contracts weren't yet included, so I thought, hey, let's start with this. And every build you start in is in this rather plain editor. There's no fancy background or anything. It's very clean, very I wouldn't say organized. There's this word, it's like cleaned up, something like that. I don't know. I don't know words, and I've been sick this week, so my brain is probably not yet working very well. But what is working is dragging stuff from the parts manager on the left side to the center of the screen and attaching it. And every part in this thing, or basically almost every part here, is procedural. So you can drag it down, you can drag it to the side, and it's, well, it's pretty easy to do, actually. And once we have a nose cone, we have to add, of course, a rocket nozzle. And it will automatically decide the fuel for it, from what I've seen, or the fuel will adapt to what type of rocket engine you attach to the fuel tank. And yes, procedural wings are also a thing here. The wings don't look as fancy as they do in Kerbal Space Program 2, but I do like this method they have here with all of these arrows pulling it from top to bottom, etc. So you don't need an extra window where you pull sliders like in KSP 2. You just stretch the thing where you want to stretch the thing. You don't need to know whether it's wingspan or whether it's taper or tip or root or whatever. You're seeing what you're manipulating, and I think that's rather a nice touch, a good design decision, from my opinion. Alright, so basically we are having a rocket and now we have to add some gyroscopic whatever. You can see there is a lot of stuff you can tweak over here. So as I said before, if you like tweaking, this is the game for you. I think you can even change engine properties and whatever. But for now, we're going to launch this sounding rocket. And once you launch, you immediately are greeted with these two rings. And what they enable you is to steer the rocket, to control the rocket's pitch and yaw by just dragging them. And you'll see it in a second, because the tutorial is still asking me to do certain things and then explains to me what above ground level and above sea level is, etc. So it's really good, I think, for complete beginners to get guided through while doing it. So you don't have to go to a separate tutorial section. It's like in UX development, you call this a so-called guided tour, where you start an app or you start some program you want to use, and the program takes you on a tour basically and shows you what is what. So this, I think it's a good approach, at least for first-time users. If you if you mistakenly click that, you really don't want that, and you already know what you are doing, this is a bit annoying. But since I'm kind of new to this game, and kind of not, but it was okay. But here, look at that minimap. That's interesting. I think that's a cool way to have flight mode and map mode in kind of one view. And yeah, we also have some nice scenery in the background with all these mountains. And yeah, this rocket is going to crash. What I want to talk about as well is, since the 1.2 update, there are some interesting new features for modders. And to celebrate that, sort of, there is a new mod available that some people that have played Kerbal Space Program 1 and have tinkered with mods over there, you will recognize immediately. And it's Parallax by the good man Lynx, who has, well, beautified KSP1 significantly with his Parallax mod, and he did the same with the Juno surroundings. I mean, look at that. This is going to this is what you can expect when you venture further out into space in this game, if you have the patience. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to get too much out there. I might in the future, because, as I said, I was rather busy last week and then I was under the weather this week. And here we see how we can check our modifications after installation, which is, once again, just dropping a file into a certain folder. You can use this mod manager interface to enable or disable mods. So yeah, no need to leave the game to do so. And the funny thing is, this SLS replica, I built that, I have to look up when that was, maybe I put some text in here. But I built this thing when it was still called Simple Rockets 2, and hey, it still works great. Well, it could work better because I kind of struggled getting it into orbit, but hey, I mean, NASA is struggling to even build these things, so yeah, at least mine is flying. We are now seeing the solid rocket boosters separate, and we're seeing the coastline down there with some oceans. What we don't see is clouds. I mean, we see them when we're switching to map view, what we're doing just in a few seconds. There we go. You can see some wispy clouds being displayed there, but I so far haven't encountered any clouds in this game. Maybe I'm just blind, or maybe they're not implemented yet. I don't know. Please correct me in the comments if I'm talking garbage. Because, as I said, I wish I would have had more time with this than I did due to some external circumstances. And while I'm blabbering on, I also want to know from you, when you're looking at this and comparing this to KSP1 and KSP2, there's a lot of familiarities here, of course. I mean, you have, of course, the nav ball, you have your staging, you have building your vehicles with the parts manager, etc. You have this maneuver gizmo that's almost a carbon copy of how things work in KSP, but what KSP does not have, and KSP2 also doesn't have, is this functionality I just activated. First off, you can lock maneuver nodes so they don't change. So you kind of set your maneuver and then you can lock them so you don't change them by accident. Very useful feature. And then you can say automatically execute the next burn. And then just hit the warp button and it will perform the thing for you. Which basically is almost like the mod mech jab, and it's built in here in the stock game. That's not a mod, that's right in Juno New Origins, and it works fine, at least for what I tried here. And what I did try was get to this moon. It's called Brigo. It's a moon of Drood. Drood is our home planet here, not Kerbal. And while we're here, I thought maybe we can even land this thing on it. I mean, the SLS and the Orion is not designed to land on the moon, but since we're in just a game, I thought, hey, maybe it works. And while I tried that, I realized, hey, I can extend the solar panels and check if they have some nice reflections. Yes, they do. So yeah, those shiny reflecting solar panels we have in KSP2, we also have them here, and we have like a blue sun? Interesting. If you're familiar with astronomy or astrophysics, tell me, what does it necessitate to make a sun blue or a star blue? And is it even feasible to have a planetary system and life in close vicinity to such a star? So comment down there, let me know. I'm really interested in that. And yeah, well, in the spirit of KSP, we of course crash a lot. But hey, we did survive, and this is also a good opportunity to look at the passengers we have here. And hey, this is what I think in previous iterations they called it a navigator. It's definitely not a Kerbal. It also doesn't have a funny face. It does have a jetpack, or she, whatever, we don't know. Does have a jetpack, and what they're called is a Drood. D-R-O-O-D. Not a dude, a Drood. And why are they called Droods? Because the planet they're from is Drood. So yeah, sure, why not? And we also have first-person mode, which is interesting because then you can shoot this tether and tether yourself to stuff. I think this is more useful when you're in space and don't want to drift away than just anchoring yourself to your crashed capsule. But hey, it's a feature and it's there. And you can also use some of the tinkering on the panel you see open here, because there's an interesting slider on the bottom. It's called jetpack power, and I can set that to 500%. And then basically Drood flies away and looks at Drew in the background. And yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for him. It? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think is behind that helmet? Is this a man? Is this a woman? Is this a pinkish alien hybrid stuff thing? At least they have 5 fingers, so it's more or less human. Definitely not Kerbal shaped. So speaking of Kerbal, is this here better than KSP2? It's hard to say because it's a very different vibe for me. KSP2 doesn't have the procedural parts. It has different types of how it does things. But on the other hand, this game was done by just 7 people compared to a huge team that's working on KSP2. And yeah, well, things still die when they hit the ground. So that's nothing new. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Personally, I'm not sure how far I'm going to get into Juno New Origins, but I am glad it is a game that exists because it offers up new possibilities and new things that KSP1 or KSP2 do not offer us. I've been thinking when I showed you the maneuver planner gizmo and the navball stuff, etc. Are we entering maybe a phase of game development where space games kind of take their influences so much from KSP that, like in the past, shooter games took their influences from Doom and Wolfenstein and Quake, etc.? So will we always have we have a gun floating and some ammo numbers shown and some crosshair in the middle? Will we always have a navball? Will we always have a maneuver gizmo and orbital lines showing, etc. in future space sim games? Interesting development here. Please let me know in the comments or come over on my Discord server where we can also have a chat about that. And I've seen at least one of the developers of Juno New Origins hanging out there, and I hope he does not get mad at me for showing some stuff that I maybe interpreted wrong in this game. If I did, sorry about that. It's still a nice game and I hope they have a lot of success with it. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.